While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in the journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. The steps to avail the e-certificate are as follows. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form emailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details and follow our pages on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. MentorMitr is a mentoring organization. Our aim is to guide students who are in school and colleges as well as working people in the areas of goal setting, stress management, time management, enhancing emotional intelligence, and providing soft skills and grooming. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on Innovating Careers Post Pandemic. The session will be led by two established professionals, Mr. Sanjay Lakhotia and Ms. Reena Ahuja, on understanding the varied fields that will emerge and grow post the pandemic. Please feel free to leave your questions in the chat box and we will try to answer them towards the end. Now, I would like to introduce our first speaker for the evening, Mr. Sanjay Lakhotia. Mr. Sanjay Lakhotia is an HR expert who has worked in the internal HR with companies like Crompton Greaves and Godrej Soaps and then worked with Hewitt Associates managing multiple businesses in India and Asia Pacific. He used to be the head of the rewards consulting business and has done a lot of work in business and HR consulting across all areas of HR. Mr. Sanjay, could you please proceed with the session?
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thank you, Riddhi, for having me for this session. Uh, One of the things that I was asked to speak about is what are innovative careers post the pandemic that we can expect to have as choices and career options for everybody going forward. So, some of the things that are emerging out of what we've experienced uh, is that this pandemic has exposed the lacunae that we have in the healthcare infrastructure that we've got all over the world. You know, anywhere that you look at it, we are falling short on available healthcare infrastructure and facilities. And that's an area that I significantly think will get ramped up in the coming years. Healthcare will be a sector where there'll be multiple opportunities. There will be significant number of opportunities in the frontline, healthcare staff, including nursing, medical staff, administration staff in healthcare facilities, doctors, and also supporting staff, which includes healthcare analytics, healthcare research. You know, mental health is going to be another big area where there will be a lot of opportunities and a lot of professionals are required to help people come out of some of the negatives of the isolation that this pandemic has forced us into. So healthcare, health and wellness is going to be an area where people have become more conscious about this area. And I think there's a great opportunity that we are going to see in the health and wellness industry going forward. So that's the first one that I would want to highlight as an area that everybody should look forward to. And if you can get yourself groomed towards this sector, get to know about this sector, it'll be great. The other one that all companies have had to do is by force, because everybody is moved to working from home, and various technologies have emerged to help us collaborate from different locations. And we also think that the way we used to work in terms of sitting in the same premises and delivering work, that's set to change significantly in the coming few years. So companies will need a lot more technology enabled processes for everything that we do. And technology development is already something that has emerged as a big area of work uh, during this time and going forward as well. Within technology also, there will be new technologies that people will need to work upon. So some of them will be hot skills like, things like blockchain, security, infrastructure. All of this will become a very big requirement. So people who want to and are interested in technology, they can look forward to having a good career and good opportunities going forward from here. So that's another sector that I will, request everyone to keep focus on. If you're interested in technology, learn new skill, look at some of the new things, Angular, which is another new area that is emerging as a skill. Then look at various other things that everybody is, working on as technologies today. Technology is moving a lot. It's changing a lot. So new technologies will be something that will be in big demand going forward. The next area that I'll want to talk about is data science and data analytics. So as we use more technology and also people are looking for more decision support, predictive features in whatever we do. So that is an area uh, for everything that you do. If you're a finance professional, if you're a marketing professional, if you're an operations professional, data science, data analytics, and its usage are going to be areas which are going to be significantly important areas where there is big job opportunities that will emerge. Within that, people will also be looking at support, not just on analytics, but also on visualization and interpreting that data to create predictive models. So your artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of these are areas which are going to have a significant ask or demand as we go forward. And this will be sector agnostic. So every sector is trying to bring about a significant change in the way data is used and in the way data is analyzed and in the way data is then utilized for taking business decisions and support. So in everything that you're doing already, you can see the advent of that. And especially, when you go to a shopping site, they will already start, suggesting to you what you should be buying or what are other things that you can buy if you're buying this, or what are other options available for the same thing that you're buying. All of that is something that's going to become part of your daily life in everything that you use, not just for shopping, but everything else. Vriddhi, there are some people who are saying there's no audio. Would you check that? Are the others able to hear me? If you can just put down a yes. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's a problem everywhere. Wonderful. So, data science, data analytics, and related fields are something that uh, will be big areas of opportunity in terms of career that we'll look forward to as we go forward. The next one that I'll want to talk about, Vritti, can we move to the next slide? Is supply chain and logistics. One of the things which is very important that the world has realized is the way we were dependent on the supply chain and logistics till now. The pandemic has created a very unique challenge for us because countries which were dependent heavily on supply of material, and with supply chains broken, it's become a unique and first time challenge for the entire world as to how do you keep the world supplied with everything that they need. And everybody is talking about a new order that will emerge in terms of how supply chain and logistics will operate going forward. So there will be significant new ways people will look at it, new mechanisms will be devised. There will be a local development of supply chain infrastructure, which will be different from what it is today. So that will be an area which will be a significant area of opportunity and career for a lot of people. So that's another one that if you are interested in, you should try and build some skills here or do a course or get familiar with this area. And this can give you a significant opportunity going forward. The next one, as we are seeing a lot of changes that are required in the post-pandemic work, everything needs to change, right? There has to be new processes, there has to be new technologies, there has to be new infrastructure that will need to be developed. And all of this to make happen, manufacturing facilities are coming up at different locations where they were not existing earlier to beat the kind of challenges that we faced. All of this will require, over the next 3 to 5 years, capabilities in project management to just ensure that all of this can come about. We can get this ready, we can make things happen. And project management as a skill will be in demand. And you should also be looking at, if you're interested in this skill area, as a career opportunity going forward. Another one that we can look at as a next area of skill is consulting. Now, many companies are looking at moving work from full-time employees to gig workers. And gig work is going to become very, very significantly big. And that's the area that my company does a lot of work in. We are helping a lot of companies in finding gig workers who can come in, deliver work at a cheaper cost, and also bring more expertise to be able to support them with all of this change that they need to bring about in the way they work. So the future of work that we used to talk about has just been advanced significantly because of this pandemic. And everybody is trying to bring about changes. So change management is an area which everybody will need support on. Leadership is an area that a lot of people will need new skills on. So efficiency enhancement is something that everybody is looking at. So all of this will create a lot of opportunity in the consulting field where people can come in, work on a gig model, support companies in bringing about higher efficiencies and move on. So consulting is an area that everybody may want to look at as an area of opportunity. So the next one that we will look at is, while we are looking at some of the areas which are only being impacted by the pandemic, there are other areas which are also coming about as emerging areas. And everybody is getting concerned about different things than what we used to be earlier. Green energy has been an area that has been talked about a lot. There has been some work that has happened. And going forward, I think there will be a lot more traction and a significant spurt that we'll see in everywhere, every country utilizing more green uh, opportunities, or in manufacturing, in transport, in everything that we do. So there will be a lot of opportunities that people may want to look at. So if it is solar power, or hydropower, wherever there is a possibility, or even batteries as a source of power. So storage of energy is going to be another area that is going to significantly ramp up in the coming areas. So green energy sector and all the skills required to help companies in that sector will be very big. So you may want to explore possibilities there. The other area, other than green energy sector, will be environment and sustainability. Companies now will have no choice. There will be a lot of movement from the governments, from policy making bodies. Uh, they will have to invest heavily in moving from polluting processes to cleaner and safer work practices. Uh, there has been a lot of work that has already happened in this area, but there is lots that still needs to be done. And hopefully this pandemic will push us to work at a faster pace, and it will again create a lot of opportunities. We have seen a lot of interest in recent times. In the last 6 months, there has been a lot of demand for environment and sustainability kind of resources that have come to us from various companies. So there is a definite movement that has happened. May or may not be only because of the pandemic, but yes, there seems to be a trigger. We are seeing more traction in this area as well. So learn about this. There are now new courses also available around this. So you may want to read up, train up, and get certification in this area. And you can also work a lot in the social sector, which is also becoming significantly large, and not just in the corporate sector through this particular area. Uh, the last one that I'll want to talk about is recycling and waste management. So in the last few years, what has happened is that we are all struggling all over the world with the mounting load of waste that we are generating, which is choking up everything. So our seas are getting choked up, our rivers are getting choked up, our land is full of so much of trash, plastic, uh, e-waste, all of this. So many countries have started these initiatives and trying to move towards zero waste and utilizing recycling initiatives. And you would see, even in your regular day-to-day items that you're buying, recyclable material. This is again an area which we've just touched a little bit upon. So going forward, again, this will be a very big area that the entire world will have to focus on to create a more sustainable environment for us to live in and for our future generations. So these are the areas that I thought I will talk about. Riddhi, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer specific questions from the audience or from you at this point in time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lokhotia, for sharing your valuable advice and insights with us on the subject. I'm sure our friends listening here are feeling more informed about the various fields, careers, and industries that are likely to grow and pan out post the pandemic. As of now, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute your microphones and ask us. Just a minute, I'll check. All right, since we don't have many questions at the moment, we'll proceed with the Q&A round towards the end. And before moving on to the next speaker, I would like to iterate the steps to avail the e-certificate once again. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form emailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details and follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. So our second speaker for the evening is Miss Reena Ahuja. Miss Reena Ahuja is a founder partner and director of people management practice at Smart Head Consulting. With over 2 decades of experience in management roles in multinational corporations, she has helped professionalize HR functions, institutionalize policies and procedures with organization transformation and change management at Smart Head Consulting. She has extensive experience in strategic business management with a focus on efficiency enhancement, talent and capability building, and management amongst other operations. Miss Reena, could you please proceed with the session?
Thank you, Riddhi. Um, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. I think the previous presentation was quite elaborate. There were a lot of things that you heard from Mr. Sanjay, and I feel that if there was more time, then he could have probably elaborated much of what has been mentioned as only bullet points. But what I did see is, and I'm sure all of you did, is that there is going to be a plethora of options available as you move forward from this current phase into what we see as the post-pandemic phase. So when we talk about post-pandemic, I'm sure it's about a time when Vriddhi, can I share my screen instead of this the presentation that you've put up? Okay, never mind. Because I think there's been some formatting that's been done to the presentation and it's looking a little different from how I had actually made it out to be. But never mind. Um, so when we talk about the pandemic, I think it's still virulent. There is some sign of abatement, but we have a long way to go before things begin to look somewhat normal, somewhat what we've been used to for the past so many years. And what we do see still is that for many months to come, we are probably going to be more indoors than outdoors, and perhaps doing pretty much what we are or what we have been doing in the last 10 months, keeping ourselves safe, protected, and trying to see how best we can adapt to what we call the new normal. Vidhi, can you go to the next slide, please? Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So when we look at what has changed in the last 10 months, I think we have really gone through so many things that were not what we were used to. Our social habits have changed, what we eat, the kind of stuff that we eat, and how and it's prepared and where we procure it from, that's changed. How we keep ourselves engaged other than work has changed tremendously. We've seen how students from junior school, nursery to even people who are doing their research have had to adapt to a very different way of learning and attending classes. A sense of hygiene, I think, has, especially in India, has gone a tremendous change because what we used to pride ourselves on about eating everything off the streets and being very immune to everything has possibly been turned absolutely on its head. Our dressing habits definitely have changed because we're more indoors. Uh, a lot of times it's very funny because I've seen people get up from presentations with being very well dressed, from as much as can be viewed on the camera. uh, and definitely, since we aren't going out as much, so that's changed. Our relationships have changed. We're more with parents at home, we're more with our siblings, with pets. We're probably closer to nature because we have got the time now instead of running after, uh, trying to reach office or battling traffic jams. Shopping habits definitely have moved. Our fitness routines. I mean, this list could go on and on and on and on. I could, you could add many. I could add even more, and which means that there's been a lot of things that are very new, and and that's something that is going to open up a lot of opportunities. So, what we're looking at, what would happen, you know, uh, post pandemic. Many it says still seems very far away, maybe a few months. Some say it could be as much as the end of the next year, which is 2021, when we begin to see life a little similar to what it used to be when we started out in early 2020. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what are the changes that's happened? Things that are looking very different is work from home may continue to be a way of life, because organizations have realized, people have realized that nothing, there are lots of things that can be done as well from home, and possibly better. And those professions will perhaps continue to enjoy the benefit of working from home, if I might call that. Education and training have already gone digital, but there's a lot of scope of improvement. And with that, there would be a lot of training of the trainers that will come into play. We perhaps will not have to travel so much for work, because earlier we used to just take a flight to for a 1 hour meeting to Chennai, or for some training session to attend in Dubai, and that's definitely going to change. What we've seen is, because there's going to be a lot of work from home, people are not going to be, organizations are not going to invest so much in real estate and pick up swanky offices and invest in building cafeterias at work, or creating very swanky office layouts. Um, and that's definitely a move that's already, we see that's already in action. And since that's going to happen, what's going to change is, those big office servers, which were used because we wanted extra processing power, and we kept adding more and more machines, and then the cabling, which was all around the office, and many other related equipment. Everything is probably going to look much smaller and much different from what it is today. We're going to be using more handheld devices, like your tablets and your phones and so on, and it will give us more flexibility. So office and all of that is going to possibly be a thing to go to if there is a real need. So can we go to the next slide, please? In addition, I think this presentation's probably got a little mixed up in terms of slides because of the formatting change, but never mind. Um, what we've seen as cloud-based services, things like cloud as a service, of software as a service, everything is now a lot of times cloud-based. But what we'll see is that cloud as a service is going to be offered. So your Amazon Web Services, which are hosting a lot of software and services, will themselves offer the whole cloud or part of the cloud as a service to people. Then there are home offices that would need to be spruced up because people are going to be working from home, and that seems to be a long-term change. We've also seen that hospitalization in this corona era has actually been at home and has been managed well by health professionals, by people who come over to your residences and can manage people who are unwell. So unless it's a real critical illness where you need some emergency services or the ventilator or some specialized machines, a lot of hospitalization will be moved homewards. So even post surgery, you might be required to stay in the hospital for maybe 3 days, and then home services are going to pick up from there. So that's going to change. What we also see is many do-it-yourself activities are going to pick up. So people are going to be learning to do a lot with their hands. Um, so when we look at what's going to change, um, there's going to be a change in how the career perspective is going to look. People are now not going to look so much at how long they can continue in one particular job, or job security, or or options of uh, you know staying put in one organization. But what is more important when post pandemic we'll see is financial security, because we've seen a lot of people who were longer in jobs but did not have a great bank balance, or were asked to leave, were not able to survive, and the savings that they had will would have taken a very difficult lesson to learn, and would now focus on financial security. A lot of career options would and decisions would be based on what kind of health benefits uh, are people going to get. Next would be, is it good to be a generalist or is it good to be a specialist? So that perspective is also going to change. When you say that it is good to be a generalist, it would possibly open doors to professions that might wean away, in some other emergency, in some other time. Whereas you could pick up something which something else that you were good at. Being a specialist and being only confined to a niche and suddenly losing the relevance of that niche is something that is very scary. That's what we've learned today. People are going to pick up more qualifications so that they're more agile in picking up career options. Within thinking about what you should do to prepare yourself for a career post pandemic would be critical thinking and creativity. How can you make things different? How can you be more creative with what you do already? How can devices, things, services look very different? So that critical thinking is going to be required uh, as you step out of the pandemic, to ensure that you have a bigger and better and a long lasting career. Technology. You've seen the previous presentation. There's so much that is going to be technology centric, and it's going to be forever and ever from now onwards. Whether it is to do with technology at home, at work, possibly, everything is going to change, but it's going to be pretty predominantly technology centric. We've already heard Sanjay say that gig assignments, which means assignments which are at will, are going to be in vogue, which means that, being an employee in one company and getting a paycheck is going to move towards being self-employed, knowing what your strengths are, knowing how to be rewarded for that is what is going to be the future. And as I said, it's not going to be so much about that one job security, but all of these that are going to be the new normal when you step out of the pandemic. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, what are the career choices that people can make? Um, what seems to emerge is that there's going to be a lot of work around being digital. Whether it is marketing, whether it's education, banking, health, entertainment, the list is very long. And when we say digital, it is not just about being able to use a device. It is being able to enable the world to use that device, to use the technologies to assist even people who are not technology savvy today, to help them become more technology savvy, to get digital, because there's no getting away. So when we say everything will go digital, which means that it is going to open up a plethora of career options for people, right from creating the softwares, creating the interfaces, and helping people become digital. And as we go digital, what we will have to work on is design. especially digital design, which we call UX, UI, user interface, and user experience. Design would also mean, design of interiors. Your houses could look very different because you probably need to have an office in there, or a classroom for your children. Maybe it might change, but even if it's temporary, there might be certain things that could be done from home with reference to learning, and not so many uh, hours could be spent at school. Much lesser hours can be spent at school. Spent at school. Fashion design could change. Design of your devices. I mean, the design function is probably going to take a huge leap from where it is today. What is also going to change is medicine. Of course, medical as a profession is always going to be at the top, but people have now started exploring treatments which are more holistic, Ayurvedic, homeopathic, Greek, and so on. So there are going to be those avenues which are going to open up. Could you go to the next slide, please? Health and fitness. I think I've seen people who have gradually procured gym equipment. They've procured weights. They have started getting advice from people online for how to remain fit, kind of exercises to be done, what kind of diet to eat when you're not stepping out so much and exercising out in the open or going to the gym. In terms of fitness, there's classes, yoga sessions, there is even sports injuries or injuries at home which can be healed through sessions on acupressure and possibly physiotherapy, which can be done by yourself. So that's going to be another area. What we see is that a lot of training is going to go the device way. So you will have small learning modules. You'll have training which is can be on the go. So we're not going to have huge seminars uh, where we hire hotels and seminar premises and entertain thousands and thousands of people, spend a lot of money. So corporations have figured out that micro learning and learning using video conferencing and technology is perhaps going to pick up and be as effective. Another space that is going to emerge is entertainment. You can see how effective, and we did not miss the cinema halls as much in this pandemic because of the OTT platforms. And there's a lot of gaming that's going to come up to keep people entertained at home. And gaming is going to be in such a way that uh, there might be a lot of learning built around gaming. So that's another domain which is going to be very challenging. And as you saw in your previous presentation, technology, there's going to be a lot of technology around communication, around bandwidth, around fiber to home, satellite communications to link up the remote areas, and technologies of artificial intelligence, machine learning, getting to do things remotely using machines, Internet of Things. All of that is going to pick up and be, the domain of the future. Um, what we also see is assisted services. Like I said earlier, things are going to go digital. So there might be a lot of people who need assistance in how to be better teachers online, how to use banking services, how to use other services which people are not still used to. I mean, there's a sizable population who is above 50 who's somewhat savvy, but there's a sizable number in that age group who might need services uh, to get acclimatized to digital processes. So can I go to the next slide, please? Yes. And coming back to what would continue to remain would be medical. There's still a lot of research. Research is not just on to do with science, biotechnology, which is going to be key, but research in all areas, whether it is communication, whether it is transportation, uh, technologies, construction technologies, uh, every area, because research will bring out the new things, it'll bring out the innovation, and that is one area which continue to be strong. Law, engineering and construction, software and technology services, finance and accounting, those will still remain, however, in a very different format. And there are going to be a lot of changes in all of these. Medical science is going to go, the telemedicine way. Law is also going to be going pretty much in a manner where many things could possibly be done over the net. Engineering and construction, the whole design concept could change. So we'll see that these professions will continue to be very strong, but in a very different way. And the list is long. So apart from what we have already continued to do, I think life is going to open up many, many, many more avenues. And I think what I see is that post pandemic, there are going to be areas which we had never explored and are going to create career opportunities for the young, the old, and anybody who wants to do anything with their time. So, with that, I'd like to wish you all the best. And if there are any questions, I can take them right now. And what I want to say is that choice of career will be by relevance, by excellence and interest rather than legacy. So you'll have many more choices to go for, and make yourself into successful professionals. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reena, for sharing your knowledge and expertise on the subject with us. There were many things to learn and take away from your talk. And apologies for not being able to answer your question earlier. We were facing a technical glitch, hence, we were unable to unmute. So now we would like to proceed with the Q&A session where all of you can ask your questions or post them and feel free to unmute yourselves. So the first question is by Shivam Gupta. He has asked, can you explain some more scopes in the field of technology? Shivam, would you like to unmute yourself and elaborate on the same, or can we answer your question? I suppose he's not on Zoom at the moment. So, ma'am, would you like to take the question up?
Um, so, in terms of technology, I think what Sanjay had already stated, there are every aspect of work is now going to be very technology centric. Um, it could be right from what you're doing currently, which is we see that there is a lot of development of technology around communication, around in fact in Europe, in Germany, and many other countries. Uh, Everybody had moved to working, saying that the Wi-Fi technologies are going to be the ones of the future. However, we've seen that fiber to home in the pandemic is now considered as something that is emerging. So things are changing with what we've seen in the last 10 months. So laying down of these fibers, technology, and the network around it. Uh, then second, we've seen that the cloud services have also picked up tremendously. Organizations do not want to invest so much in keeping big machines and running huge and heavy servers. Uh, so a lot of technology around that, and also ensuring that the software organizations which are using cloud as services know the strength and how these services on the cloud are going to be mapped, and so they have to be very friendly to cloud services from Amazon or Oracle or Azure, or so that has that organizations are thinking in that direction, so that opens another area. uh, so there is a lot of technology in telemedicine. uh, we are looking at certain amount of uh, uh, now adaptability of doctors also who are doing consulting uh, through video conferencing, and also doing not just consulting face to face, but also doing sessions and looking at reports and scans and x-rays, and basing their diagnosis using telemedicine. So technology in terms of not just communication, which is going to be the backbone of everything, but in a big way is going to uh, be really, and in fact, artificial intelligence, uh, there's going to be so much more built into how people are thinking by their habits, looking at what you're browsing on the net, looking at what your choices are for shopping, looking at how you are actually using your internet time. So artificial intelligence for those to understand your behavior, the client behavior, is going to be one of the emerging areas, which would of course get into the area of machine learning, and also into areas where we're going to be making very intelligent and fast working devices. So technology is really going to be the crux of a lot of things that is going to happen in the future.
Thank you so much for your answer, ma'am. Here's another question posted by Tin Sun Min. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question? All right. So the question is, what do you think the best career choice should be during the pandemic and post the pandemic?
See, a career choice is something that is very dependent on an individual himself or herself. So cannot answer it in as a generic, but definitely I think during the pandemic, which has kept us indoors, which have restricted us a great deal, the choices that you can make should be around what is available to you as technology, as an area of work. Things that have emerged is tutoring a lot of school teachers who were used to a chalk and board method of teaching into how to use devices, how to create better classrooms. Content creation is another one which is picked up a lot during the pandemic. What's also picked up is creating your own online shopping stores. So there are websites like Shop 101 or Misho, or so people have gone and created their own online shops and have managed to send out these requests to people who were not online shoppers but are active on Facebook or WhatsApp, and have actually created a revenue stream for themselves. Um, so there are a lot of tools and things available online, which you can actually use sitting at home, and maybe further your career. But I would still say that it depends on what people are interested in. There's a lot of content writing, not just for technology, but for in terms of blogs, in terms of sharing knowledge, um, travel, and writing for channels which are actually even into things like design, fashion design, and cooking. So all of that actually has come in suddenly into vogue and has kept people very active. Post pandemic, we just went through the list. It is very, very long. So most of all that we have been doing so far in our lives will stay, but with a different flavor. And and the new things that are emerging is something that we've gone through in the previous slides, which is going to be much of it is around, again, redesign, better user experience, using your own talents, and expanding on it to serve multiple functions. It needn't be that you're a finance professional, so you should only be knowing finance. You could probably know project management. You could probably get some experience on how to handle processes better, how to help organizations implement something which was manual, to automate it. So I think there's just way too many things and many exciting things that can be done post pandemic too.
And that was a great answer once again, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And we have another question for you by Carl Patrick Sahagun. Carl, would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question? Yes, yes, you're audible. Hello, Carl, you can ask your question.
Hindi maganda yung nag-ooperate ng ano nila.
Okay, so the question that has been posted by Carl is, what do you think of the reach as a career in pandemic?
Ano na
Uh,
lang mga question?
how are the
Mga pagod
teachers
ng dito.
now?
Huwag maingay.
You'll have to repeat the question, please, Riddhi.
Sure, I can certainly do that. So the question posted by Carl Patrick Sahagun is, what do you think of the reach as a career in pandemic? Where are the teachers now? How are they going to adapt in the future? And do you think they need more help from the government to sustain the education system?
I think it's a very, very relevant question, because this whole changeover was so sudden that teachers in even in larger cities, and even who were trained to use some amount of smart teaching, found it very difficult to immediately get onto this mode of teaching. And I think there is a fair amount of intervention that would be welcomed from the government, because across the world, a lot of education is imparted from government channels, which is schools and establishments run by the government. And teachers, I can speak for India, in a lot of, I'd say, majority of the schools across the world are still used to the chalk and board method, where they have a classroom in front of them and they're controlling students, their reactions, their emotions, and their behavior. In this new method, I think the personal contact of the teacher is far removed. And also, the impact that a teacher and her personality would have on children is fairly diminished. Uh, and we all know that in growing up years, especially from in junior school, a teacher and the school and education system has a huge impact on people and their behavior. So it would mean that teachers need to be trained very differently in how they were trained earlier, which would require a huge amount of investment. We would want to see corporates come and invest in this space. It would be very good if the government has a outlay, because even if the pandemic goes away, there is going to be some amount, I would say a fair amount uh, of this kind of classroom session that are going to be in the future, because this classroom methodology has given or has an outreach potential, which means that you can reach to that person sitting in a tribal area, and he and she can get good education. So we should see investment impetus, and I think teachers need to be trained, because it's not just people in the cities, but we should know how to give learning to somebody who's very, very far away from us also, and doesn't have a classroom to go to. Thank you. I hope this answers.
Thank you so much for your answer once again, ma'am. There's another question by Gillard James Mesa. Gillard, would you like to unmute your microphone and ask the question?
Hello, so good evening, ma'am.
Hi,
My
good evening,
question
Jalod.
is student
Your voice is breaking a little.
students
The audio is a little bad.
can
Uh,
students get exciting is
yes, Jalod, can you try
oh,
asking again?
hello.
It's a little better.
Hello. Okay, so my question is as in our career or during
Vriddhi, the audio is still bad.
Okay.
If you could
Happy.
read that the question.
Okay. Anyway, I'll just ask the question. So the question from Jalod was, how can we as students prepare for the future and different careers that are likely to pan out?
Um, a lot of students would say that, oh, what a bad time to be a student in. But I think this is a perfect time because as students, you've seen and adapted to a very, very, very different world. And I think this is the greatest learning because you have to be adaptable. You have to ensure that going forward, you are a multitasker. And we've seen for people like us who are working that, and some of our friends have lost their jobs, and most of those who've lost their jobs are the ones who were focused or were, good at doing just one thing. um, so for students, I'd say that pick up as many skills as you can and think critically, think innovatively, and look at how you can change things around you. So whether it is, like I said, a certain way of doing things, whether it's travel, whether it's entertainment, whether it is gardening, I don't know. There are so many things, that you should look at and look at them critically and see if what you're doing today is the best way of doing it, or are there other better ways. And that better way can actually open doors to new careers. So I know of people who have, in the last 10 months, uh, used the space in their house that they had to start a hydroponics
Mm.
business, which means that they started growing things using water and have now converted that whole hydroponic hobby into a whole career stream for themselves. So when you think of new ideas, you'll realize that not many people have done it,
Push-me, dis-toi.
and that
Allez,
idea
courir,
could
courir.
be opening doors to a new career for
Ah, mon
yourself.
petit, je serai capable de l'énerver.
Yeah. So
Mas ta
students,
bandi,
just
bukan?
be very flexible, learn as
Mas
much as you
ta
can,
bandi, bukan?
and multitask.
Thank you so much for your answer, ma'am.
I think there are a
Here's
couple of
another.
others. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there are a few other questions. There's a question by Ankur Sharma. Ankur, would you like to unmute your microphone and ask the question? Ankur Sharma, are you here? All right, so I'll ask the question. So the question is, what is the impact of the pandemic on law professions in particular?
Um, yes, I think what we've seen is that uh, law, the two aspects to it. One is what happens in the court of law, like how are things with reference to uh, being inside a court. The other is law, which is helping sort out a lot of problems, interpretation of laws, and how they're going to be applicable to various situations. We did see that, the courts were adjourned for a very long time. There were not so many people who were asked to come to court. There were courts which were smaller courts, which were, if they could have been done online in a VC mode, were being conducted in that fashion. Uh, However, I think we see that creeping back into action, and maybe there'll be uh, pretty much the normal situation that we'd known for uh, once the pandemic is over. But yes, it's given an opportunity for quick, I'd say, as a country, I know that we have court cases which take forever and ever. So now we have had situations where, you could go online, and instead of waiting in the wings in a courtroom for hours and hours together, there could be sessions which could be done online for, a quick resolution. And a lot more cases can get actioned versus what was possible in a few hours, maybe 5 hours or 6 hours that the court used to run in a courtroom. The other thing is that law as a profession will have to look at many aspects that have opened up. How is law going to interpret if there is mismanagement of medical services while somebody is hospitalized at home? Law for workmen, are they going to be, if it's a person who's working on a contract or a gig employee, what kind of benefits and should that person get? So there needs to be a complete change in the employment laws. They're going to be change in laws which are to do with I'd say internet services. What if you are in the middle of very important discussions, business negotiations, and your internet fails? Are you going to sue the company? Uh, those are many aspects of law that are going to open up, and I'd say that it is going to be a profession which is going to go on, and the lawyers can continue to make their millions uh, and bill by the hour. So I think it's going to go undergo a huge amount of change, but definitely is going to stay.
Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. And we'll take up the last question by Oliver D. Jericho. Oliver, would you like to unmute your microphone and ask the question? Is Oliver here? All right, so I'll ask the last question. Do you agree that being a safety officer is one of the most challenging careers during this pandemic?
Um, Now, the safety officer is a very generic term. The safety officer could mean safety officer in a manufacturing unit. A safety officer could be person who's enforcing law and order, like a policeman. Safety officer could mean people who are ensuring that there's building safety and there's fire safety, and so in my opinion, I think probably the person meant a safety officer or an officer of the law. Yes, I think you know safety is something that is getting compromised uh, before pandemic, during pandemic, after pandemic. It is something that uh, risks are only increasing, uh, be it to do with social divide. And I think as we move in, we'll see that there are going to be perhaps people who have the divide between have and have nots is going to be a little larger for some time to come because people have lost their jobs. So, a safety officer and a job in that domain is definitely going to be challenging. But we do see that there are going to be opportunities that are going to come up, and there are going to be instances that might probably lead to untoward incidents. So that job stays, but yes, it was a very important job in the last few months that we've seen in enforcing uh, the regulations of the pandemic, in enforcing the regulations of the lockdown, be it wearing a mask, be it wearing, carrying your sanitizer, social distancing, being indoors. So that job's been very, very important in the last few months, as we've seen. And it's been a frontline warrior's job. So we see that it's going to continue for months to come, because this pandemic is not going to clear up in the next few weeks, hopefully by the mid of the year or end of the year. Uh, but yes, that job is going to be important.
Thank you so much, Miss Reena, once again. And a huge thanks to both our speakers as well as the audience for giving us their time, support, and encouragement throughout the webinar. Thank you for attending and engaging in today's session with us. And before wrapping up the session, I would like to repeat the steps to avail the e certificate. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google Attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form mailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details and follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e certificate will be automatically mailed to you. Thank you so much. And you can contact us through any of the above mentioned platforms with your questions, feedback, and suggestions. Hope to see you all next Sunday. Thank you.